The Egyptian Pharaohs' Life, Death and Legacy, a long, calm story about Egypt's divine rulers and their timeless world. Part 1. A River, a Kingdom and a People. Before the world knew of Rome or Greece. Before the pyramids cast their shadows over the sand, there was the Nile, the longest river in the world. Every year the Nile flooded, and every year it left behind rich black soil, perfect for growing wheat, barley, flax and papyrus. Without the Nile, there would be no Egypt. It was the spine of the civilization, a sacred current flowing north to the Mediterranean Sea, and along its fertile banks villages became towns. Towns became cities, and cities gave rise to the Kingdom of Egypt. Part 2. The First Pharaohs and the Unification of Egypt. Over 5,000 years ago, two lands stood divided. Upper Egypt to the south and Lower Egypt to the north. Then came a ruler named Narmer, also called Menes. Around 3100 BCE, he united the two lands. He wore a crown of red and white, symbolizing both regions, and established the first dynasty. He built a capital at Memphis. He created a centralized government, and from that day forward, Egypt was ruled by pharaohs. Part 3. The meaning of Pharaoh. The word Pharaoh means great house, but the role was far more than royal. To the people, the Pharaoh was the embodiment of Horus, the falcon god. After death, the Pharaoh became Osiris, the god of the underworld. Pharaohs weren't just kings, they were gods in human form. They made laws, led armies, performed sacred rituals, and ensured Ma'at, the cosmic balance, remained intact. If chaos or famine came, the Pharaoh was blamed. If peace and prosperity reigned, the Pharaoh was praised. Their success and failure were tied to the heavens. Part 4. The Old Kingdom and the Age of the Pyramids. The Old Kingdom began around 2686 BCE. It was the age of the pyramid builders. Pharaohs Djoser, Sneferu and Khufu left behind towering legacies. Djoser built the Step Pyramid, the very first stone monument in history. Designed by his vizier Imhotep, it was revolutionary. Then came Sneferu, who built 3 pyramids as he perfected the shape. Finally, his son Khufu built the Great Pyramid at Giza. Standing over 480 feet tall, it remained the tallest man-made structure on Earth for over 3,800 years. Each stone weighed several tons. It took thousands of workers, not slaves but skilled laborers paid in bread and beer. The pyramid wasn't just a tomb, it was a stairway to the stars, a symbol of the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. Part 5. Religion and the Divine Order. Egyptian religion was woven into every part of life. They believed in hundreds of gods and goddesses: Ra, the sun god; Osiris, lord of the underworld; Isis, the great mother; Anubis, the jackal-headed guardian of the dead. The pharaoh stood between gods and mortals. His job was to keep the universe in order. Temples were built to honor the gods. Massive complexes like Karnak and Luxor. Inside, priests chanted spells, made offerings, and burned incense. The public could not enter. Only the pharaoh and the high priests were allowed in the innermost sanctuaries. Part 6. The Afterlife and the Tomb. Death was not the end, it was a transition. To be reborn in the field of reeds, Egypt's version of paradise, one had to prepare. The body had to be preserved, spells had to be recited, judgment had to be passed. In the Hall of Two Truths, the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Ma'at. If it was light, the soul was pure. If it was heavy, it was devoured by Amit, the soul eater. The goal was eternal life, and pharaohs went to great lengths to ensure it. They were buried with food, wine, jewelry, weapons, boats, and even furniture. Tombs were covered in sacred texts, the pyramid texts, later the Book of the Dead. Spells and instructions to guide the soul safely to the next world. Part 7. Mummification, Science and Ritual. Mummification took 70 days. Organs were removed and placed in canopic jars. The brain was discarded. The body was packed in natron, a type of salt, and dried. Then it was wrapped in linen, layer upon layer. Amulets were placed between the wrappings for protection. Each wrap was done with prayer. The face was covered with a mask, sometimes made of gold. Finally, the mummy was sealed in nested coffins and laid in the tomb. Part 8. The Middle Kingdom, Power Restored. After the Old Kingdom collapsed from drought and rebellion, a time of chaos followed. But peace returned in the Middle Kingdom around 2055 BCE. Pharaohs like Mentuhotep and Senusret restored Egypt's power. They expanded trade into Nubia and the Levant, built massive temples, and made the pharaoh more accessible, portrayed in art with kind eyes and soft features. Part 9. The New Kingdom, Egypt's Golden Age. Then came Egypt's greatest era, the New Kingdom. It began in around 1550 BCE and lasted 500 years. Pharaohs became empire builders. They marched into Canaan, Syria and Nubia. They built temples larger than ever before. Among them, Thutmose III, a warrior king who led 17 military campaigns. Hatshepsut, the most powerful female pharaoh who ruled in peace and prosperity. Akhenaten, the heretic king who worshipped only one god, Aten, the sun disk. Tutankhamun, Akhenaten's young son, whose tomb would become world famous. Ramses II, Ramses the Great, who ruled for 66 years and built Abu Simbel. Under Ramses, Egypt signed the first recorded peace treaty with the Hittites. He built more monuments than any other pharaoh. He fathered over 100 children. He called himself a god and believed it. Part 10. The Decline and the End of Native Pharaohs. Eventually, Egypt declined. Foreign powers invaded: Libyans, Nubians, Assyrians, Persians. For a time, even Nubians ruled as pharaohs, the 25th dynasty. Then came the Macedonians under Alexander the Great. And later, the Romans. The last pharaoh was Cleopatra VII. Brilliant, charismatic. She ruled not just with power, but diplomacy. Her reign ended in tragedy in 30 BCE, when she took her own life after the Roman conquest. Egypt was never ruled by an Egyptian again. Part 11. Rediscovery and Legacy. For centuries, Egypt's secrets lay buried. Then in 1799, the Rosetta Stone was discovered, unlocking hieroglyphs. In 1922, Howard Carter found the tomb of Tutankhamun, untouched for 3,000 years. Golden thrones, linen wrappings, chariots. The boy king's death mask, solid gold, stared into the modern world. The fascination was reborn. Part 12. The Pharaoh's Eternal Legacy. Today, the names of pharaohs still echo. Khufu, Hatshepsut, Ramses, Cleopatra. Their pyramids stand tall. Their statues stare across the sands. We walk through museums filled with their treasures. We study their writings. We wonder how they lived and what they believed. The Egyptian pharaohs ruled for over 3,000 years, longer than any other civilization in history. They believed that to speak the name of the dead is to make them live again. And so we speak their names still. Conclusion. A civilization of immortality. In life, they ruled by divine right. In death, they joined the gods. And in memory, they remain eternal. Thank you for joining this long, peaceful journey through the world of the Egyptian pharaohs. May their stories inspire wonder, reflection, and rest. Until next time, may Mart guide your dreams.